everyone, it's Sally again on Magic Mike Moments. And today I'm very excited to sit down and chat with a lovely lady from the Central Coast of New South Wales, Julie Watson. Hey, Jules, how are you?
Hi, I'm amazing, except for this cold, but
Oh,
other than that,
it
I'm
sounds very sexy. It's very great. I love that husky voice.
thank
So I'll just give you a little bit of an intro because actually Julie and I have met through networking and we haven't actually sat down and had a conversation. I thought this was a really great chance to organically really get to know you because there's nothing better than in the moment. So I'll just introduce you, Jules. You're the CEO and founder of Stronger Than My Excuses.
yes.
And as I just mentioned, you're on the Central Coast and you're a successful businesswoman for over 30 years and an international bestseller author. Oh, excellent. And she now helps people find their own inspiration and speak up through the Stronger Than My Excuses web TV panel discussions and her presentations. After overcoming your own health and financial adversities and being able to work from anywhere in the world, you're now well positioned to offer solutions based on real life experiences. So, while being positive helps overcome adversity, it's confidence that supports achieving goals. Oh, you're talking my language. Well, welcome, Julie, very much for coming on Magic Mike. And I'd
Thank you.
really just love to hear a little bit about your journey to bring you to where you are today and some of the challenges that you've had to overcome.
Honestly, the probably the biggest challenge, which I didn't realize was a challenge at the time, was imposter syndrome. And I
Mm,
don't think I need to explain that. Everybody knows what that is these days.
yeah.
But I had it really bad and didn't know. And the reason I didn't know is because I've always been an extrovert. And, people talk all the time to introverts, telling them how to act at networking events and how to be a better networker and all. No one ever thinks to tell the extrovert to shut up for a little while and listen rather than talk.
Yeah.
But also, they also expect that the extrovert is confident, and they're not. They're
Mm,
not always confident. They
mm,
might be confident enough to speak in front of people or be the life of the party, but in their head, they're not always confident. They walk away thinking, oh, what did people think? Should I have done that? But they want to be this extrovert, but they're not always in their own head agreeing with what they're doing.
mm.
And that was me. I had complete imposter syndrome. And look, if there's one thing anyone takes away from this today, it is to get over it. If you've got imposter syndrome, do everything you can to get over it. Just start learning about it because,
Mm.
we're all worthy and we just need to keep going and never give up. And so that's what I did. So I I'll tell you what happened was, I was speaking at events. I spoke at an event in Melbourne, then in Hawaii with the company I was with at the time. And I still didn't follow through in my head with the things I knew I wanted to achieve. Um, but you just simply keep working at it and keep
Yep.
believing. And eventually I decided I need to do something here. So,
How
you
long
know what?
ago was this, Jules?
Sorry?
How long ago was this?
Well, it was probably about 10 years ago that I started
Right.
looking at why have I got this feeling, Um, I went to an event and I had this person that I was talking to up on a pedestal and then realized, they got into their crappy little car, which was even worse than my car.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
not that's a bit judgmental. It's not, I'm just making a point
I
that
know what you
I
mean, though. Yeah, yeah,
I had them on a pedestal, and yet they're just the same as me.
yeah.
They may not even be as successful as what I was. So I thought, why was I doing this to myself, thinking everyone else in the room was better? No, we're all just people. We've all got our issues. We've all got our stories.
Yep.
So what happened was I one day, and I was going through, and this is probably about 8 years ago, a breakup of a relationship. Financial situation was in tatters and I was feeling pretty down. And I'd always saved articles and things on my computer. So I went in looking for an article and I found this one called Overcoming Adversity. So you think you've got it bad? Oh, no, I'll read that. So I started reading, got about 3 lines in, and I went, this is an article I wrote 10, 15 years before
Yeah.
when I was doing those speaking in Hawaii and speaking in Melbourne. And at the time, so that article went on to talk about my 5 years on a dialysis machine, and I was on that machine for 5 hours a day, 3 days a week, giving myself intravenous needles, cleaning my blood. Hope no one gets a bit gooey with that sort of thing, but that's what it was about. And I was having seizures and surgeries and biopsies and gut cam and butt cam and you name it, 34 admissions to RPA during this sort of 5 or 6 year period.
Wow.
Then I had 2 kidney transplants during that. The second one was my dad's, which I still have today. So my kidney is 86 years old, the one that works.
Wow.
But the funny thing about that is reading through that article that I wrote, which I never published, and I wanted to be a speaker back then, and I wanted to have an article, and I never did anything with it. And reading that and about how I was during all that time running a business. I was a surf lifesaver and on the board at the surf club, and I was a soccer manager as well as the social director of the soccer club. I actually remember going into or ringing someone up at the soccer club and saying, I have to stop doing my role because I'm going in for a kidney transplant. So,
Wow.
so I was really positive in everything I did. I ran the business, I did sports with my family, and yet I never had the confidence to take that article any further.
Mm.
And reading that back just hit me like a ton of bricks. You silly person, why did you not go further with that back then? So that's how it all started. And I decided, right, I'm going to start videos, and I made a video, and that was all scary. Well, now lots of people do them, but now I started panel discussions, and then it went from there. And now I have a media production kit that helps anyone make their own panel discussions. So
Oh, Dave,
great.
wow. I mean, you've condensed like a lot of stuff that's
Yes.
gone on into a couple of minutes, but I
Yes.
mean, even just the health issue for 5 years, and here you are being the overachiever, multitasking, doing everything, being so capable and pushing yourself and pushing yourself. And wow. And I love coming back to the imposter syndrome, right? You have to have that recognition and that awareness before you can change it, that you're not being authentic and fully in alignment and not being your genuine self. Got this facade up, and we often see that with I have in the past successful men that have this facade, and they end up having heart attacks because they're going external rather than internal, and really having a look at what's going on. So you've been on a bit of a
Exactly.
soul searching journey, really, and it's all about the confidence, stepping up into your big girl
Definitely.
undies, and empowering yourself. I love it. So
That's right. And I think you mentioned as part of the intro that positivity got me through that adversity, and it absolutely did. I stayed positive, but confidence got me my goals. And it's a big difference.
yeah, and it's the courage as well that goes with the confidence, right? So it's
Yeah.
courage.
And, like finding that article
Mm.
just hit me like a ton of bricks. Not just the fact that I found my own inspiration. I read my own article. So I inspired myself. And I thought if everyone could just look back at what they've done,
Yeah.
they will find their own inspiration. They will know that they've done things in their life. Or if they haven't, there's things that they want to do that they need to start leaning into. So, there's always a way to
Absolutely. You're
become
giving me
confident.
nothing but goosebumps here because this is something I'm really passionate about. Really, my mantra is helping people let go, step up, and be more. And that's what this is all about, letting go of the
Fantastic.
judgments, particularly on yourself, that I'm not good enough, that sort of stuff. Step up and empower yourself and just be more of you, the authentic you. That's what I'm
Yes.
really strong about because
Yep.
then you when you're in alignment, there is no worry about this imposter stuff because it's just you, and finding that courage and confidence of being your natural self. It's so much more relaxing in that space. So
Absolutely.
tell me a little bit more about Stronger Than My Excuses.
Well, so it is empowering, as you said, but it never goes away. There's always the feeling of uncomfortable when you're moving into some change or
I
something
love
new.
that. Yep, yep.
Anytime you're growing, you're not going to do it comfortably. So you have to be able to say, I'm stronger than my excuses. And you'll know when you have excuses because you hear yourself shoulding. You should on yourself. Every time you should on yourself, you've made an excuse. Oh, I should eat that shouldn't eat that chocolate, or I should go for that walk, or I should whatever.
Yeah.
And usually they're the small things. You know, you can have a goal to have a business. That's easy to set that up and you start working on it.
Yep.
The hard things, the small things. So I just started leaning into it, and I watched, you know, The Secret. Everyone knows The
Yeah,
Secret.
yeah.
Okay, so that was something I found at the same time I found that article. I went to a friend's place, and her and her daughter were watching The Secret, and I thought, what is this? And it was just, I was amazed, and I went, I've got to get this. I got it, and I watched it for 100 days in a row.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'll tell you now, I didn't watch it right through every time, but I almost did, because I said to myself, I want to watch that again because I know I didn't catch everything.
Yep.
And then when I watched it again, I went, no, I really want to watch that again. I want to pick up and start taking notes. And eventually I stopped taking notes because I realized I was putting too much pressure on myself, thinking I had to do everything. I've changed my mind on that now. And I started going, right, what are the things I should take out of this that suit me and the life I've got? And so it was like morning routines, certain things I would take from it. So now I just listen to motivational things every day. It's part of my morning routine. And usually I do it in the shower. So
Yep.
it's not taking any extra time. I'm in
Yep.
the shower. I've got Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey or, you know, Brené Brown or someone
We must
talking to
be
me
twin
about.
sisters here. Yeah, yeah.
So doing it in the shower or when I'm driving, it takes no extra time.
Yeah.
So it's part of my routine. But so stronger than my excuses stemmed from going, it's never going to end. I've got to find ways to just constantly overcome the excuses and the barriers, and life is always going to get in the way of your dreams and your goals, and you can't let it. You have to push through. And I don't think I even realized what that uncomfortableness was
Yep.
until more recently. And it's just actually saying, I'm going to do this. I am not giving up. And so now we help people do the same thing. Through the media production kits don't specifically do that. They give everyone the tool
Yep.
to speak up. And hence why I've got microphones behind me. It's about speaking up and having a voice. But when I talk to people and when they read my little part in the media production kit that says why I did what I did, I hope that inspires them to think, oh, okay, that, I can do this too. She's just an ordinary person that's got ordinary problems or whatever, the same as everyone.
Yeah.
So, so stronger than my excuses became, I ended up trademark registering it because when I first started my first panel discussion, I didn't even have a business name.
Yeah.
I was just calling it Stronger Than My Excuses. I thought, maybe that's a good name for the actual business. And then now I've got the T-shirts and
Yeah. Oh,
the
right.
coffee
It's for
mugs
real
and
now. I totally love it. And what you're saying before, I have a saying that I use all the time. You have to get uncomfortable. No, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And
yes.
stronger than my excuses, it's taking ownership. And some of the workshops I run, one of the things I do is we do an exercise from I should to I could. It changes the energy. So I basically work
Yes.
with energy, and it's words are powerful, thoughts are so powerful,
Oh,
right? So
it's
it's
like saying, I don't know if you've heard this one too, but instead of saying I have to, I get to.
yeah, or I
I
choose to.
have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I need,
we're
I want,
lucky.
all these words are words of
Yes.
lack, right? So you have to be very mindful first about the thoughts that you have because they are so powerful, and then the words that you use. And everything is a choice, and we can either choose to be in the pity party, the Debbie Downer, or we can choose to pull up our big girl socks and undies and turn into
Yeah.
Pollyanna. And there's a saying: negativity and fear can't hold its breath when surrounded by positivity and gratitude. So,
No.
it's you have a choice. You can go in that below the line space where it's a bit dark or choose to rise above. And it's really challenging, like you said. So,
Yes.
what do you think your superpower would be then out of all of this? Is it confidence or, what is the magic? Why are people drawn to be working with you?
Okay, I know exactly what my superpower is.
Oh, drum roll. Yep.
It's not really a word, but it is that I ask.
Oh, wow. You're the first one to say that one. I
Yeah, you don't ask, you don't get.
love that.
And I have never stopped asking. So when I first started Stronger Than My Excuses panel discussions, I said, okay, I got some friends because I wasn't going to do it on my own. And they were my co-hosts and we got different guests on. But in the end, they just said, we'll just co-host. It's your thing, because they didn't really want to get that involved. I went, okay, we're calling it Stronger Than My Excuses show. And I'll do most of the stuff, you just co-host. So I wrote all the scripts, and which is just things like, welcome to the Stronger Than My Excuses show. And Sharon's going to introduce our guests, and then she'd have a script to introduce the guests. But I did all the asking. So I asked everybody. I asked bank managers, lawyers, radio announcers, people that I knew were international speakers that had lots of followers. I asked presidents of chambers of commerce, the New South Wales Business Chamber regional director, and I asked the mayor. All of them came on my show. And I went, this is amazing. I've asked, and I have got a bit of the gift of the gab. I was excited. That was the thing. I was
Yeah,
passionate,
you had the
but I
passion.
still,
Yeah, yeah.
you've got to have the passion about what you're asking for, or people won't get passionate. So I asked, and so I recently held an event. We had about just 6 little expo tables. We had 5 panel discussions in one day, and I had people from council. And look, you ask these people, they come on your show, and everyone wrote. They did testimonials. The CEO of the Central Coast Mariners Football Club, he was on the show. Then he came to the after party. He did a testimonial. Julie's done a great job organising this. Our panel was about leadership. It was fantastic. So you just have to ask. And, you know, I think what we get sometimes is when we start to go to ask, that's when we get the fear, and then
Yeah,
we get the
yeah.
procrastination. And sometimes it even, I call it sneaky procrastination, because we don't even know it's happening. What happens is you think, okay, I'm going to ask, and then you just go, I'll just get this coffee. You're not thinking you procrastinate. I'll just get this coffee. You come back and boom, a little notification pops up that you've got an email, and you go, oh, I'm supposed to respond to that email today. But really, it can wait until you ring that person.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you click on that notification, you open it up. Next thing, they're asking you a question. You've got to go to Facebook to get that person's name again. Then you're on Facebook. Now you're checking that. Sneaky procrastination.
Like
And I
that.
still do it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're all
There's
human.
nothing perfect going on here. Trust me. I do it. I even sit there and go, you shouldn't be checking this Facebook post because you were about to make a phone call, and I cannot drag myself away from that Facebook post. And I scroll, and then I go, but I'm much better now, but not perfect. But I'm aware. I'm
Yeah,
consciously aware that I'm doing that. So, but anyway, going back to it. So it's about asking, and if you get that fear, recognizing you're feeling a bit of procrastination is just stress building up on your shoulders, and you start looking for other things to get stress relief.
yeah,
So come back to it. Try to recognize that sneaky procrastination, even if you're telling yourself you're doing it and you're still doing it.
yeah.
Um, but at least know that you're doing it, and get better and better and better, day by day by day, minute by minute, just all the time. So
I love that. Yeah.
ask. Asking is my superpower.
I love that. I love that. I love that because we're all perfectly imperfect. So, overcoming yourself, that's the biggest challenge really, isn't
Yeah.
it? So then with the clients that you work with, what do you think in your opinion is their biggest issue?
They don't ask,
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. I just love that.
honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
because I've had clients that have even purchased my media production kit. So they've put their money where their mouth is
Yeah.
in preparation of making a series of panel discussions, and we show them every step. We've got email templates, how to get venues, how to get videographers, how to find the right videographer, how to get free venues, how to get sponsors to cover all of your costs. So I paid nothing for my first series of, I had a series of 8, then I had a second series of 8, and even the ones beyond that, I never spent a cent I paid people, but I got sponsors to cover my costs.
Mm.
Again, I asked,
Yeah,
would
yeah,
you like to
yeah,
sponsor this? You'll have your name all over the TV show when it comes out, and we'll be sharing that, and you'll be sharing it, and all of the panelists will share it because same as you do, we all share what we're doing.
Mm.
So some of the people, they've purchased my kit and then they procrastinate on getting started because they don't know how to ask. Probably comes back to the fact that they haven't got their passion fully around it yet, or they're fearing that they may have imposter syndrome. They've got the confidence up and they said, yes, I'm going to do a panel discussion. And when it comes to actually saying to someone, I'm doing a panel discussion series on mental health, and the first episode is around, fear and doubt, or whatever it might be. Would you like to come on as a co-host, or would you come on as a panelist? And they're actually thinking, am I really going to be the one hosting this show and telling and giving and being seen as the expert here? And they start to not ask, and they get a bit of fear. And I think it's more that than time. It's not money, because people will buy the kit. It's got everything they need, and the checklist. Week 1, do this. Week 2, do
yeah,
that,
yeah.
so that they end up.
Spoon-fed, yeah.
But it's that they don't ask. And
Mm.
they either don't believe, or they've got a fear of doubt. They might be afraid of rejection, failure, even success. I never thought, when people used to say there's a fear of success that people can have, I used to think, no, I really want success. But then when I thought about it, it's that you are then looked at as an expert.
Yeah.
Whoa, am I prepared? Because I was really good at working for charities. I did so much work for charities in the past, and the soccer club and the surf club, like I mentioned. But when it came to asking people to pay me for my expertise, even though I had it, I really struggled to say, I'm worth that money that I'm asking.
Yeah.
And now I don't fear that, and I don't doubt it, because I know what I've done for all these charities, and I know what I can do in business, and I just get on with it. And if someone doesn't like what I do, here, have your money back.
Yeah, I
It
love
doesn't,
it.
no one's ever asked for their money back.
Yeah,
So, I think that's what it is. They have to get comfortable with showing off their own products and services.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that leads into my next question. So, based on all of your experience and wisdom and all that sort of stuff, top 3 tips that you could share to help people, and I'd say one of them is ask, but what are the other tips?
I would say, okay, so first, I guess, don't look for a magic pill out there, because you're not going to find it. There isn't one.
Yeah.
I was a seminar junkie, so I know that if I went to a seminar and they said, you need a picture goals board, and then you'll achieve your goals. So here's me. I was so naive. I actually thought that all I've got to do now is get this picture goals board. And so I've actually still got that today. And it's still got my goals on it, and a lot of them I have achieved, but it just got hidden eventually. And I do still get it out and look at it and go, oh, yes, and I revitalize. But that wasn't the magic pill.
Yeah.
The next seminar would say positive affirmations for 30 days in a row. 30 times you've got to say it, 30 days in a row. And so then I'd do that. The next one would say, oh, you need to do mindfulness. You need to do meditation. You need to do a morning routine. You need to do, excuse me. And I thought that everyone else out there had the magic pill.
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's people like you and people like me giving little tips here and there. And like I said, I don't get ebooks. I get ebooks all the time, Audible, and I don't write things down anymore. I just take it all in.
Absorb it. Oh, you're speaking my language. Yeah.
I'm going to have a little cough.
Yeah.
As you know, I've got this cold.
Yeah. You're doing really well. I know I've got a bit when I'm sipping on my tea.
So tip number 1 is don't look for the magic pill.
Yep.
Pick and choose what you want, add it into your routine, but only if it doesn't change the whole thing.
Yep. Yep.
The second thing is probably starting to do some mindfulness, because
Yep.
when you do get that overwhelming, when I get a task that's
It comes
huge,
up. Yep.
that's when I start procrastinating. And I have my timer on my phone set for 3 times a day. Meditate. It says meditate. 1 minute is all I do. And you know what? Sometimes I even snooze that because I'm in the middle of writing an important email or something. But usually I just go, okay, stop, look at my meditation app, push the thing. It's just music for 1 minute, and I just breathe in,
Yep.
breathe out. Calms me down. I come back to that email way better, way more inspired,
Yep.
just by taking time to breathe.
Yep.
Excuse me. I wish I could breathe better now. But yeah, it's funny. What's that? Ironic. Yeah. The third tip is catching yourself when you're making excuses, because
Yep.
obviously
Yep. Yep.
that's what I'm all about. If you've got a goal and you don't stick to that goal, all you're doing is breaking a promise that you've made to yourself.
Yep.
Now, either the goal is too unachievable, because if
Yep.
you say, I'm going to make $1 million this year, but that means when your family say, oh, we want to go on a holiday, and you say, I can't, but you go on that holiday, it means you've set the goal. It's not realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
Set your
achievable.
goal realistic so that you don't make excuses. And so the thing about making excuses is, if you can't change the small things,
Yep.
how are you ever going to change the big ones? So I'm talking things like hitting the snooze button and not getting out of bed when you promise. You set your alarm. That's when you said you're going to get up. If you hit the snooze button, you're breaking that promise. If you can't just do that, how are you going to run an organization? How are you going to run a business? How are you going to support other people to do everything they need to do? If you can't say to yourself, I'm going to do stretches every day and then do them every day, that's easy.
Mm.
Not even 5 minutes. You can do 1 minute worth of stretches if that's all you need to do, but do it every day. And if you break that, don't go, oh, it's all over. I didn't do it, or I've started hitting snooze again. Start again.
Yep. Yep.
Never
Yep.
give
Yep.
up. Do the stretches. Do the don't hit the snooze. Get out of bed. Do the small atomic habits. If you've never read that, you need
Oh
to
yeah.
read
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it is, if you can't change atomic habits, those tiny things,
Yep.
you're almost never going to change the big ones. And even some people that do get achieve success, they may look successful, but they're still struggling inside because there's other things that they're not actually achieving.
Yep.
They may have happened upon success, like Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure his money was handed down. Is he really happy? All those divorces and things, honestly. So you got to be happy and catch yourself making your excuses, and make sure that you can do what you want to do.
Absolutely. And I'm really big about just start with simple, small steps, because that's going to bring sustainable change, right? It's just getting started. And if you
Yeah,
fall off the wagon, don't just, that's not the end of the deal. You just start again the next day. You just get back up.
exactly. And you
And
don't beat yourself up. You just
100%. We're speaking the same language. And as you're mentioning, it's having that structure and routine and sort of sticking to it as best you can. As you said, considering life is life and it just gets in the way. If you're in the middle of something and you can't just stop, and don't beat yourself up about it as well.
no.
So then that leads into my next question, because as I said before, my mantra is all about letting go, stepping up, and be more. And so that you can be more of your authentic self, more in alignment and flow. So
Yes.
how have you, or what have you let go of? How have you stepped up and how have you become more of yourself over your journey?
Um, okay. I don't even know if it's, well, I don't know if I would call it letting go. I'm not sure, but I guess leaning in. So I heard that through, I think it was Mel Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about leaning in, and that means, it may not even, it may have just been a TED talk I heard. I can't remember. But the point is, if you want to go, if you want to go on a cruise, but you're not sure how, or then you start mentioning to people, I'm thinking of going on a cruise. I'm not sure whether it's for me. What do you think? Then people start telling you about cruises, and you start hearing things about cruises. And then that's what I mean by leaning in. You mention it. You might look up a website. You might do something else. If you want to start a business, how do I start a business? Okay, so you Google it first of all. Of course, Google's got a million answers, but then you might mention it to someone that says, "Oh, I've got a friend who helps people starting in business, and they do a free half-hour consultation." Great, you're leaning in. So I just leaned into the things that I wanted, and as I said, eventually I used to get overwhelmed with thinking everyone was telling me the magic pill, but then I realized, okay, just get your own morning routine. So my morning routine is set. I do this, I do that. It even includes having my shower because because of my kidney transplant, I'm on a lot of medication, and that affects my skin, and I have to look after my skin. So where a shower, I might only take me 5 minutes, but when I get out, I've got to put this cream on here and some cream on my scalp and something else on my feet. And I've got all these, and I've got things I've got to do for my body to take care of my body. But sometimes I rush and I walk out the door and I think, oh, I forgot to put that thing on my scalp to stop me getting skin cancers there and all this other stuff. So I now have this routine that includes shower, skincare, healthy body, it says, physio, because I've had a little back thing. So now I'm fine because I'm doing my physio, stretches. It includes, like I said, listening to something motivational every day. And that's what I mean by leaning in.
Yep.
So I lean in. And if I listen to someone like Brene Brown, or even Mel Robbins recently put out a book called The High Five Habit. And that was an easy thing to add into my routine every morning. It says shower, high five. And I have a shower and I high five myself in the mirror, because a high five cannot be a negative thing. It makes you feel a little bit lifted. It makes you think, yeah, you've got this. There's nothing negative about it. So adding little things that don't completely change my routine, but they're easy as anything, that's what I do. So I lean in. Anything I hear that I think I can do that, it might say touch your toes once a day. Okay, I can do that. It takes 1 second? So things like that I can add into my routine. And then life will always get in the way, I think we talked about before. So making sure that you keep your routine as often as possible. I'm up here at my son's house helping my daughter-in-law because she's going through chemo, and helping with the grandkids, and so everything's out of my normal routine. I'm not in my normal office. I've got, I can't just meditate in the morning because the grandkids are running around. So I just change it around to suit. When they go to school, just got to fit everything in.
Yeah, you've mentioned the morning routine a few times, and that's something I have as well. And I think you and I have so much in alignment, and I listen to inspirational books every day. It's part of my routine. It's walking, connecting with nature. But the morning routine, it sets you up for the day. It sets your intention for the day. And I think if there's one takeaway for everyone today, is really implementing a morning routine, because it really does help you stay in that positive vibe for the day and really set you up. So so we got to let go. How about stepping up? I mean, it's all the same thing. So it's not. Stepping up is just being more of you, I suppose. Or I mean, you're such a doer, and you're so
stepping up is just the doing, the actions. For me, because action is everything.
It is, actions speak louder than words, and we all can say, yes, this is what I'm choosing, but actually doing it, because then you're putting the energy behind it, you're getting the momentum, and as you're very structured and have the routine, and I think that's part of stepping up as well, is sticking to this routine that you have, and then being more of yourself,
One of the things I do in the morning, and I do meditation. I do a 1-minute meditation when I first wake up, and then I do that. I get my coffee and then I do that for 1 minute, but then I do a 15 or 20-minute one before I start my day. But I think I think I lost my train of thought there, but and I do, if I don't do physio, I'll do a walk.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think just sticking to that routine is so
So,
important.
so important. So important.
But
Like,
stepping up is action, isn't it? So
yeah.
um, you can't just write this down and then not act upon it, or you'll be stagnant
Yeah,
and go, yeah,
absolutely. You'll stay stuck. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And so just being more of yourself, yeah, just being more of you, just being the authentic you, just allowing yourself, warts and all, just to just put it out there and just
yeah.
part of it all.
And
Yeah.
some people are going to give you a hard time, or not even give you a hard time, but they may go off and be going, oh, she's a bit crazy, or she,
That's okay. That's
I'm
their
not.
opinion.
So what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're
Because that's
probably
part of
really
letting
boring.
go. Letting go of other people's thought, judgments,
Yeah, it
criticism,
does not
whatever,
matter.
because it's usually it's just triggering stuff inside of them because they haven't done the work. So that's one thing that I really like about you is that you've really dug deep, you've done the work, you've rolled your sleeves up, you've got dirty, because that's how you changed,
Yeah.
and you've gone through such a lot. So at the end of the day, what are you really passionate about? What drives you? What gets you out of bed? What sort of brings that spark to you?
Um. So I think so I was thinking about this the other day that some people are the nurturers. My mother is a nurturer. She loved the babies. She loved to do everything for the family,
Yep.
and that's not me. As much as I love my own child and my grandchildren and so on, and my family and friends are really important. And when I think about what I'm grateful for, it's
Yep.
always them. But I'm really passionate and interested in what's going on in the world and the bigger picture. I ran for council at one stage and thought of, as an independent because I couldn't stand what was going on, in the environment around me. And I thought I can make a change here. And I only just missed out on getting elected. And anyway, that's a whole other story. But
Yep.
for me, it's about the bigger picture and it's about what's going on in the world. And it's
Yep.
about, at one stage there was seismic testing going on off the coast of the Central Coast where I live. And it could even still be happening. I've kind of had to lose that a little bit because of what I'm focusing on now with my family up here.
Yep.
But it was so the articles that were about it were hard to find, but seismic testing, and this was being heard right across to America. Sorry, whales and dolphins can hear it underwater
Yep.
all the way across to the west coast of the United States because these seismic tests are so catastrophic for the sea life.
Yeah.
Anyway, I heard about this and I was getting up and I posted something on Facebook about it, and out of my whatever 500 people friends, I got 4 people that commented
Mm.
or liked or angry face or whatever, and 2 of those are friends that are overseas, and only one of them was on the Central Coast and the other was somewhere else.
Mm.
And I thought, and then I post a picture of my dog and I get 50 people liking it.
I know. I know.
And that is where I'm coming from about how do I want to be seen, or what do I want to, what am I passionate, what am I interested in? It's getting people to stop being so apathetic
Yeah.
and pay attention because,
Yeah.
they come to vote and they blame the politicians for everything, but they're the ones that are more interested in what's going on in their own house
Yeah.
than the world and
Yeah.
the environment around them. So I'm really passionate about the bigger picture.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. I totally get that because it's stuff that's really impactful on our environment, on our lives, on
Mm,
everything. And like you were saying about the sea life, and it's so much
yeah,
easier to just to tuck that under the carpet. Oh, I don't want to have to
yeah.
deal with that,
And it's something that you really have to manage because it can become too overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can actually mess with your head too much and you end up, if you get too passionate, you just lose friends because everyone's not going to agree with what you agree and everyone doesn't want to know about it. So you
Oh,
just have to go,
look at
okay,
COVID. Look at how that's divided people.
yeah.
So
Yes.
the same thing, all different judgments and opinions, and
Mm,
some people wanted to get involved, some people didn't, don't want to hear about it, just want to get through it. And I
yes.
100%
So
fit
you
with.
do have to be careful, but I will never be a fence sitter.
Mm.
So
That's what I
I
love
don't,
about you. You
that's
you
right.
you
I,
stand firm for your opinion, right? And
yeah,
that's
but I
it's
don't bring it up with people now on Facebook, especially, or at parties or whatever. I let that's parties are for
yeah.
partying.
Mm.
But if I get asked, I have my opinion. Yeah.
And that takes strength, right? And it also
Yeah.
takes vulnerability, allowing
Yes,
yourself to be
it does.
to be seen for who you are, and regardless of what their opinions are or whatever. So then that leads me into down the track with all these wonderful, beautiful things that you do, and they really are impactful, and it's really important. And you're such an awesome person. What sort of legacy would you like to leave?
Probably, I want to make a change in the world. I
Yep,
would
I can
love to
feel
do
that.
that now. I
Yeah.
don't know how yet, but I think every
You're
time I
already
think,
doing it. You're already doing it. So you just want to make a big
yeah,
one, right?
it's funny because whenever I think about my business, and my business is a scalable model that can be global because people can buy my media production kit, have their own series, or have their own event by getting the event in a box kit, and
Yeah.
they can have it anywhere in the world. So when I think about it, if it is scalable, if if it becomes a global phenomenon and I make a lot of money through it for the business, I call my business a social enterprise because the whole idea of it is that it started as a passion to let people have a voice.
Yeah.
So again, I want charities and causes and not-for-profits and all those sort of community organizations to be able to do a panel discussion and have their voice heard on a platform that people start going to find this information. So when I ever think, wow, look at what Richard Branson's doing for the world. And I know some people are anti him doing this space stuff, but you know what? In 100 years' time, if our great grandchildren need to be living on Mars under a big dome because we learned how to get there
Mm.
through, I don't think they're doing it for just their own benefit.
He's
But
doing something, right? Rather than sitting on
and the
his butt,
money he
right?
pours into
Yeah.
charities and the things he does for people, and the people will say, "Oh, yeah, but he's got this island, and okay, because he deserves a lot of what he's got." But
Yeah.
I always think if I got that rich, I would want to do the same sorts of things like Oprah Winfrey does. She's not driving around in a bommy car. She's driving around in a great car, but she also gives away hundreds of cars. So
Yeah.
let's all get let's bring everyone up rather than the tall poppy
Poppy
syndrome.
syndrome. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be bringing everyone up. I want to bring a whole lot of people along for the ride and get all these people, speaking up and being able to do better and have better and do
Mm.
more and do something better for the world. And so if
Yeah.
I get remembered for something famous, or even if it's just my family, I want them all to say she's always tried to do better for the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably not so much for my own family, I guess, as much as I appreciate them and love them.
Yeah.
It's the bigger picture for me. Yeah.
I just love it, and I can feel that passion coming through you. And all you have to do is put it out there. And what I love about you is your strength. I love about that you're a doer. You're authentic, and you're very passionate about it all. So
Yes.
at the end of the day, how can people find out about this media production kit, and
So
where they can go to find you, find out more, have a chat, whatever it is.
so I've got a website, strongerthanmyexcuses.com.au, but LinkedIn is probably the best. I'm still at the stage where I'm still the main contact person. I've got a few people working for me now, but generally I would put you out to them. So, we've got lawyers that have got their own series about law, all different episodes. We've got real estate, we've got tradie, running a tradie business, all sorts of things like that. Suicide prevention. So anyone that is thinking, I would love to have a panel discussion,
Yep.
How can I do it? How can I do it for free? Now, we charge for our kit, but we show you how to get money back
Yep.
through sponsorships. And we also show you, and we allow you to pay that off as well, so that you've got a bit of time to start to get some sponsorships in to start helping you
Yep.
pay for everything that you need. That's a DIY kit. Other people, like, most larger organizations would probably just pay for the large kit as part of their marketing,
Yep.
and it's just part of their budget. So, and that's where the full kit, we do everything for them. We film it, we pre and post production, editing, we help them
Wow.
find panelists, we help them come up with topics, themes, everything.
I love it.
So LinkedIn is probably the best way.
And is that
Um,
under Stronger Than My Excuses, or is that under your name?
yes,
Okay.
or myself, Julie Watson,
Yeah, perfect.
either way.
Oh man, so website or LinkedIn. Jules, it's just been absolutely such a pleasure to sit down and have a chat with such an aligned, authentic person. You're
Thank
like my
you.
twin sister. We've got so much in common here. But life's too short now. We really need to step up and be seen to help people and get people to know who we are, get to know and trust you so that we can help each other and help the world to become a better place, really,
And I have
particularly.
heard quite a few of your interviews. And to be honest, I was probably more interested in what you were. I shouldn't say that. I just became interested in I could see that we were aligned, is what I'm getting at.
I
I suppose
I know.
every time you commented on what the people were saying, I thought, oh, yeah, she gets it, and I think we're very aligned.
Oh, very
Um,
much so. As soon as he said The
yeah,
Secret, I'm in there,
yeah,
every day I walk for an hour and a half and I listen to Audible and, Joe
yeah,
Vitale and Pauline Hill, whatever it is. And I'm on another Facebook Live where we talk about money, but from an energetic level and, about money
yes,
blocks and stuff and run workshops about all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, we're right
yes,
up the same page. And
yes.
I'll have to chat to you off air because I also have my show, Your Holistically Fit Life show, on the Natural TV channel, which is
Right,
broadcast in the States. So, yeah, we'll have to chat further
great.
about that. But
We
anyway,
will.
thank you so much for coming on Magic Mike today and really enjoyed our chat. This is why I have these shows because I just meet so many interesting people through networking and let's just share the love, let's share the information and the wisdom that we've all gained to help other
Yes,
people, and I get lots of great feedback about our discussions that we have on this show because they're really interesting people because everybody's got a story and we can all learn from what you've learned, for example, and you've been through the ringer as everybody's
yes,
got stuff that they've dealt with, but it's a choice. You can either choose to be the Debbie Downer because of it in the pity party or say, right, okay, let's just rise above it and let's create some more positivity in our life. And there's lots of
yes,
gratitude to be had for all of our experiences. So yeah,
totally.
thank you, Julie, so much, and I look
Thank
forward
you.
to keeping in touch and maybe doing some alignment stuff down the track. So we'll see where it
Yeah.
leads.
Yes, absolutely. It's always going to lead somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you again on Magic Mike Moments. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.